Cheers, love! Today I'm going to show you how I made the jacket and the leggings of my Tracer costume. The leggings are made from a yellow lycra spandex, 4-way stretch, extremely comfortable. I started off by making a test pattern so I knew it would fit around my leg, and I knew I needed it to go up pretty high all the way to my natural waistline. I also drew the cutout part just to make sure I knew how wide and how long it needed to be. And I used that pattern to cut out my real leggings. This dark gray fabric that I got for the inner panel is a double knit, and it has a slight texture to it. And to make that texture stand out even further, I used a honeycomb stencil and some white fabric paint and a sponge to dab it onto the gray fabric. Going back to the cutout piece on the legging, I made a little piece of bias tape from the same yellow spandex and pinned it around the opening and sewed it shut. And to make sure the leggings would still stretch even with this bias tape stitched around it, I used a stretchy thread. This is meant for sergers, but if you're using it just to do a top stitching, it works really well. Once that was done, I needed to dye the leggings. So I used a mixture of red and orange RIT synthetic dyes, and I did an ombre dye, and this took a long time. I did a lot of tests to see how long I needed to leave the fabric in the dye before I got a good subtle ombre. Once the leggings were dyed, all I had to do was finish up that legging insert panel. The little loops are made out of the same lycra spandex and just placed evenly apart by looking at reference photos. The black is also a spandex. It is very stretchy, which helps to make it move correctly when I walk. And once the loops and the black string were added, all I needed to do was stitch in that gray panel in the back. The leg piece here is actually a part of the holster set for her chest piece that she has, but I attached it to my leggings so it wouldn't fall down when I was walking. Finally, the last little detail of adding the Tracer name to the left leg, I did that just with fabric paint. I just hand painted it on. And now I'm gonna go over how I made her bomber jacket. The actual material of the jacket is a brown pleather, but anything that has the correct kind of look of leather is going to do you real well. Just don't use real leather. So of course the first thing you're going to want to do is cut out your pattern. I'm using the Butterick B4929. I love this jacket pattern. It is a princess theme on both the front and the back. So cut out all those pieces and then sew them all together. Alright, now we move on to the test fitting stage. That means you put it on, either on yourself or on a mannequin, and pin it a little bit smaller where you want it to fit really nicely. Sew those pieces a little bit smaller. And then you try it on again and take it in more if you feel like it needs it. Once you're done with all that, you can add a zipper to the front. I got a opening jacket zipper, and I couldn't find a silver one in the right length, so I just bought a black one. Really quick, my pattern was a rounded neck, you can see that, and I just cut it down a little bit to make it a deep V. After the base of the jacket is all fitted to me and looking good, I needed to draft out a pattern for her collar. Her collar is huge and it stands up, it's awesome, I love it, so I just took a piece of scrap muslin, draped it over my mannequin, and held it up to see the right shape and curvature of the collar that I thought would look good. I also bought about half a yard of acrylic fleece just to line the collar and the cuffs because the pleather that I got was not lined with that fuzzy type of jacket that hers is supposed to be. Now the collar is 3 layers. The top layer is the same pleather of your jacket. It also has a layer of stiffner in there to make it stand up, and then the inner layer, which is that woolly fleece. Sew all the layers together of the collar first, and then attach it to your jacket. To finish it up, I took strips of the fake pleather and I used it to make a bias tape around all the edges of the collar. First at the front and then one strip around the top. Now it's time to add the sleeves, but before you sew the sleeves shut, make sure you add the patches first and then attach it to your jacket. I got my patches from a seller on Etsy, and I will link that store in the description below. To finish up the sleeves, I folded them up and decided what height I wanted the sleeve to stop and how long the cuff needed to be, and I cut off the excess. Again, taking some fleece, I just cut out a rectangle wide enough to go around the inner part of the sleeve, and I pinned it into place. Attach the fleece to the sleeve by doing a stitch all around the bottom edge, including that little V cut that she has on the edge of her sleeve. I cannot spit out the word fleece today, apparently. And then to keep the other edge of the fleece in place, just hand tack it down on the inside of the sleeve. Finish up the bottom of the jacket by creating that curve that she has. It's a really odd shape. Just look at pictures, put it on yourself, pin it to the right length on your hips and your front and your back, and then just fold in the under edge and hem it down. And then to finish up the jacket, it's really important that you go over all of your seams and top stitch them. So around all of the princess seams, the side seam and the back seam, as well as around the arm. This really just gives the jacket a completed look. A last little detail is that what strap thing that she has on her collar. And I made this just with some twill tape. And I couldn't find the right width in black, so I bought it in a tan and then I painted it black with acrylic paint. The buckle was just made from a little bit of warbler and painted silver. And then the loops were made from the same pleather that I made the jacket. I also went over the zipper with a little bit of silver because I couldn't find the silver zipper. I just ended up painting it. And lastly, we want to age the jacket. To age my jacket, I just used a mix of brown and tan acrylic paints and painted it on. And a good tip for aging is to do it in layers. So the first layer you put on is just slightly lighter than the brown of the jacket. The next layer you put on over that is a little bit lighter, and then the next one a little bit lighter. I usually do about 3 layers to get a good aging look. And I highly, highly recommend you age the jacket because it just gives it that authentic look. And with that, the jacket is done. I love the way this jacket came out, you guys. I'm so excited! Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Keep an eye out for my other tracer and Overwatch tutorials. I will link them in the description below as well as at the end of this video once they're all complete. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you're always up to date with new tutorials and vlogs, and I'll see you next time. Bye!